Uh-oh, I started doing single crochet instead of double crochet. So I have to...
Oh no, what a catastrophe.
I have to pull it out. Hey fiber friends, it's Allie. Welcome back. Today I am going to crochet one of the last rows of this Hydrocephalus inspired wall hanging. I will be using this hand spun yarn that I've spun in previous videos. You guys really liked that yarn, so I thought I'd film myself crocheting with it. But before I start crocheting, I want to tell you a little bit about the story with this piece. So as you can see, it's very blue. Hydrocephalus, the color for the Hydrocephalus Association is blue. And so that's why I picked it. This whole blue section represents the Hydrocephalus. And then the outer section represents my journey with Hydrocephalus, and then there will be an outer section that is going to be white with sari silk blended in with it that represents ultimately learning to live with Hydrocephalus. So that's the basic story about this piece in a nutshell, and I am going to go into more detail about it while I crochet. So sit back, relax, and join me. So one thing I want to mention to you is that September is Hydrocephalus Awareness Month. Now you may remember in previous years I have done something for Hydrocephalus Awareness Month. 4 years ago I made a bunch of blue yarn throughout the course of the month of September and told you some about my journey with Hydrocephalus, and I'm going to tell more about that, but there are more details to add to that story. I'm going to tell a different version of that story right here, but I do want to give you a little bit of information on what hydrocephalus is. Hydrocephalus is the leading cause of brain surgery in kids. I myself have had 12 hydrocephalus related surgeries. My last one was in September of 2020. And you may remember, if you've been here that long, that year, in addition to making the blue art yarn, I also shaved part of my head to show off my shunt tract, which was incredibly empowering. I did not do that this year because I've been wanting my hair to grow back for a long time. Basically, ever since my neurosurgeon decided I needed a haircut. Because at least when I shaved some of my hair and that showed off my shunt tract, I was at least able to cover it up if need be. But after my neurosurgeon shaved half of my head, there was no covering that up. So I mentioned that the blue section represents Hydrocephalus itself, and the more colorful section represents my personal journey with Hydrocephalus. So this piece has an important story to me to tell. And I've been telling bits and pieces of that story throughout my adult life. I am attempting to tell that story now through my art. And the reason it's so colorful is because, and has so many complexities to it, is because my experience with Hydrocephalus and the experience of other Hydro warriors is incredibly complex. And I am stuttering a little bit today. But I'm not gonna edit that out too much, because I'm not gonna edit that out too much because I wanna show you as I normally am. Right now I have a really bad headache, so just kind of bear with me. But I guess it's fitting that I'm making a Hydrocephalus video while I have a really bad headache. And I actually went to the doctor today, and because I've had a headache for 10 days, and we discovered that the hardware that controls the CSF pressure was on the wrong setting. And so they put it back to the correct setting, and we're gonna see how I feel. And if I get any worse, well, then I'm supposed to let them know. So one thing I want to mention to you guys is that when you have over a dozen, when you have a dozen surgeries, that makes you very, very grateful for health insurance. But it also makes you afraid of losing your health insurance. Back in 2010, before the passage of the Affordable Care Act, I wrote a letter to my representative and told them that I supported the Affordable Care Act because I had hydrocephalus and epilepsy, and I didn't want to lose my health insurance. And at that time, I would have lost my health insurance coverage at 26, and wouldn't have been able to get it back because at the time, it was completely legal to deny coverage to people with pre-existing conditions. And I should have warned you that this would get a little political, but I'm trying not to make this too political, because as I know because this channel isn't about my opinions politically, but sometimes when I talk about a piece that I'm working on or talk about something that's important to me, I venture into that a little bit. But again, but I'm only mentioning it today because it's hard to tell my story about hydrocephalus without mentioning the health insurance part of it. Now, as I said, at the time, I wrote my representative and asked him to support the Affordable Care Act, which had at the time not been passed yet. And hi, Leia. I started doing single crochet instead of double crochet. So I have to.
Oh no, what a catastrophe.
I have to pull it out. Oh well. All right, I'm back. I figured out where I was doing it.
And now we return to our previous discussion.
So before the passage of the Affordable Care Act, it was completely legal to deny coverage to people with pre-existing conditions. And so as I said, I wrote to my representative, and they invited me to come and do a roundtable discussion and with a bunch of community members, and my dad and I both got interviewed on the local news. So the reporter asked my dad how much it would have cost to do my surgeries, is if there hadn't been an insurance. My dad estimated that the 10 surgeries I had at the time would have cost my parents upwards of $500,000 to cover. And I want to point out that I had 8 surgeries over the course of the 6 years that I was in college. I am nothing if not resilient.
And if you haven't guessed by now, my degree was in political science. I do want to mention that I am still scared of losing my health insurance. As I said, I got my undergrad degree in political science, so I've been following local politics for a long time now. And we've got one party that's been trying to defund the Affordable Care Act for the last 15 years, and another party that's been trying to improve it. I've heard from other hydro warriors who feel the same way I do about this. So make sure you get out and vote this fall.
The stitch I'm doing on the outside edge of this is the half double crochet, in case you're wondering. And the half double is done by doing a yarn over, stick it under the loop, doing another yarn over, pull it through, and pull it through all 3 loops. Yarn over, stick it under, pull it through. I'm really excited about this piece getting done. I haven't decided yet if I'm gonna try to sell it or try to donate it. There is a lot of there are a lot of pieces at the University of Iowa from local artists, and someone had suggested that I donate the piece to the University of Iowa. And I fantasize about it being at the University of Iowa, outside of the neurosurgery department. I don't know if that will actually happen, obviously, but that's a fantasy I have. Like, I don't want to just display my art in my house, even though I do love displaying my art in my house. Let's see, I still have a ways to go with putting, I'm not even halfway done with this row yet, but I also have a whole bunch more yarn left. Someone said this piece looked like an eye, and that kind of inspired me to make kind of an obvious edge around the circle before I put the white on, and hopefully that makes it a good hopefully that makes it a good transition, I guess, between the journey with hydrocephalus and ultimately learning to live with hydrocephalus. One thing I want to mention is that I don't want you to think that I'm wanting you to pity me or something. I guess what I'm saying is I don't want you to think that I'm the worst off of any person with hydrocephalus. In fact, I'm far from it. And that's part of why I take the time to talk about my journey with hydrocephalus. I have only had 12 hydrocephalus related surgeries. And there are a lot of people I've met and read about on the internet in hydrocephalus support groups, or met over the years who have had at least 24 surgeries. I even met someone who had had at least 70 surgeries in the course of 3 years or something ridiculous like that. So for a long time, I felt like it was my responsibility to tell my story. Because people need to know about hydrocephalus, it's the leading cause of brain surgery in kids. And you can be born with it, but you can also get it from head trauma or you can get it through head trauma or brain tumors or meningitis. And I'm probably missing some other way you can get it. And before the 1950s, many people with hydrocephalus didn't survive. Yeah, I am proud to be part of the second generation of Hydro warriors to survive childhood, back, and they didn't develop the hardware to drain the cerebral spinal fluid until the 1950s. And that hardware is called a shunt. And my shunt was placed when I was a year old. In fact, it was the day after my first birthday. In my case, it took a long time to diagnose because it wasn't blatantly obvious when I was born. And, my head grew, but the rest of my body didn't.
And what I mean by that is I was very small at my first birthday. I weighed less than 15 pounds at my 1-year checkup. My head was very large compared to the rest of my body, and I was still wearing clothes for 4-month-olds.
A family friend at Christmas time, who was a doctor, said, I think you should get her looked at. I think something's wrong with her. Because at that time I was 10 months old and I didn't know how to crawl yet.
I was also late on some of my other major physical developmental milestones.
And she was right. I did have hydrocephalus. And I ended up getting better very soon after. But we have home videos of me attempting to crawl 5 months before I ever learned to crawl. So, so I was trying. The attempt was there, even if my brain wasn't able to make it happen. And so I crawled at 14 months and I walked at 19 months. And then when I had hydrocephalus complications in my late teens, I lost the ability to walk and had to relearn. And so I don't take for granted the fact that I am able to walk now. Or any of the other stuff that I'm physically capable of doing, because I remember not being able to walk. Now, these challenges are crocheted into this piece. That's why there's so many colors, colors. Like, the colors represent the complexity. But some of the brighter colors, like they're yellow in there to represent, hope. I had many opportunities to not graduate college, but every time I needed to have surgery, I had to put college on hold, but I wanted to graduate. So I kept going back over and over and over and over again until I finally graduated. So when people ask me what my greatest professional accomplishment is, I tell them graduating college. Because nothing else compares to the challenge of graduating college. But also nothing else compares to that victory, essentially, that graduating college was. So I'm very grateful that I didn't give up when I had so many opportunities to do so. So if you want to see any more videos like this, where I'm knitting, crocheting, or spinning art yarn, please click the like button and hit subscribe so you can find out when more videos are posted. You can also check out this video here. It's of me spinning the yarn that you see me crocheting with here. So I hope you have a great rest of your day, and thanks for watching. Bye.